A very good afternoon to Professor Dr. Muhammad Hassan bin Muhammad Osman, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academic and International, Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, Dr. Tita Ivasco Branzuela, Vice President for Linkages and International Affairs, Beda University, Dr. Annabel de la Cruz Quilon, Chair, College of Arts and Sciences, Department of Psychology, Beda University, Professor Nelly Satumira, Department of Psychology, College of Arts and Science, Beda University, Ms. Nur Hafiza Hussain, Deputy Director of UMK International Office, Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, and Associate Professor Dr. Johan Kurniawan, Deputy Director of Research and Innovation, Center for Language, University and Generic Development, Universiti Malaysia Kelantan. Here on behalf of the Director of Center for Language.
Dia disconnect.
Yang ni mungkin dia punya line tengah. But the weather is fine now. That's okay. Sorry.
Banyak sangat sanitation lah, tak dikurangkan.
Itu yang dia bagi. Dia bagi dia susah.
Okay. Dah dapat.
A very good afternoon to Professor Dr. Muhammad Hassan bin Muhammad Osman, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academic and International, Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, Dr. Tita Ivasco Branzuela, Vice President for Linkages and International Affairs, Beda University, Dr. Annabel de la Cruz Quilon, Chair of College of Arts and Sciences, Department of Psychology, Beda University, Professor Nelly Satumira, Department of Psychology, College of Arts and Science, Beda University, Mr. Hafiza Hussain, Deputy Director of UMK International Office, Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, Associate Professor Dr. Johan Kurniawan, Deputy Director of Research and Innovation, Center for Language Studies and Generic Development. On behalf of the Director of Center for Language Studies and Generic Development, Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, and a very warm welcome on behalf of the organizing committee to senior officers, presenters, and students from Universiti Malaysia Kelantan and Beda University. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to e-conference between Universiti Malaysia Kelantan from Malaysia and Beda University from the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us all stand up to sing both of our country's national anthem. Please rise.
Slowly, right?
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you taking your time off from your busy schedule to join us here today. We hope you will find the presentation that we have lined up for you today to be fruitful and engaging. Ladies and gentlemen, to kick off our e-conference program, I am pleased to invite our esteemed UMK Deputy Vice Chancellor for Academic and International, Professor Dr. Muhammad Hassan bin Muhammad Osman, to deliver the welcome address. Please welcome.
Dr. Dita, are you there? Can you wave so that we can see you? Yeah, okay. We can see you. Dr. Dita Iwasco, thank you very much. It's nice to hear you on the other side. It's nice to see you on the other side. Dr. Annabelle, Dr. Annabelle there, can you just wave at us, Dr. Annabelle? Oh, all right, okay. We can see you now, Dr. Tita. And Professor Nelly, can professional manage show himself or herself? Right, okay, we can see you. Okay, hi everyone. Okay, on my side is Dr. Hafiza. She's here on my right side.
Hi.
And we have Dr. Johan on my left side. Okay. Okay, thank you very much for spending time in this e-conference. I was told that this is the second time we are organizing this e-conference. First and foremost, I would like to apologize for some technical glitches earlier. I think we already sorted out the technical problems on this side, and we can proceed with the e-conference. Okay, can you hear us? Again? Okay, thank you very much. Right, I think the objective of this conference is basically, number one is on knowledge sharing between the two universities, Universiti Malaysia Kelantan and Beda University. Number two is to create opportunities for our students to interact and exchange information with students from Beda. And number three, we hope to increase our students, especially our students. When we say our students, it means UMK and Beda, self-confidence in sharing their ideas, their opinion. I think this is a good opportunity. We'll be talking about Industrial Revolution 4.0. Having an e-conference is one of the initiatives under Industrial Revolution 4.0 or IR 4.0. I do not wish to speak further. I think let us. Yeah, I think Dr. Tita, I would like to. We would love to hear something, some words from you. It's been a long time since we last met. With that, I will I hand over the session over to Dr. Tita. And thank you very much, everyone. Okay.
Greeting. Salamat. Vice Chancellor, Professor, yes, hello. Hope to see you in Indonesia, Dr. Associate Professor and Innovation, Center of Language Studies and Genetic Development. Greetings to our Beda University administrators, faculty, students, and staff. Magandang with our rector president. Hello. Is the sound okay over there? Okay. So with our rector president, Reverend Father Imran, we highly appreciate this international collaborative students research engagement between Beda and UMK, maximizing the use of technology. This is a first of its kind for our internationalization activities to have an e-research conference for students. We hope that this will not be the last, and perhaps we can likewise do the same for other degree programs. Congratulations to the UMK team, SBU College of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Annabelle, Psychology Department Chair, CAS Psychology Society, Beda team, always working together as one. Mr. Jolly Moore, Associate for Administrators and Faculty. Mr. Larry Ambion, Associate for International Research. Ms. Noriel Tabag, Associate for Students and Staff. She kept close communication with Dr. Johan. Ms. Dolly Sartorio, Secretary, and all our DedaNet, IN personnel, and everyone who assisted in this preparation. To all student presenters from UNK and San Beda, congratulations for an excellent job. Let me name you all. Mod Ashraf bin Zulkifli, Joshua Aldotria, Noratika Nabila bin Kaidir, Janelle Kala Carlos, Noor Rabin Kaal, Drizel Joy Kantinan, Noor Abdin Kirot Seman, Maxine Eric Ribarse, Mazia Mustaqim, Kayla Elito, Maria Veronica Balicoy. All of you will then serve as exemplar models to the rest of our studentry on the importance of research sharing for knowledge generation, and more importantly, for reaching out to the world beyond our national borders, beyond Malaysia, and beyond the Philippines. Go global and contribute to the sustainable development of our world. A pleasant day to all. Satu hariang menyenangkan untuk semua. Thank you very much. Terima kasih banyak. Maraming salamat. We love you all there, UNK.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the floor, let us now begin the first session of the e-conference between the two universities, Universiti Malaysia Kelantan and San Beda University. I would like to invite our first presenter, Mr. Muhammad Ashraf bin Zulkifli, representing UNK, from UNK, to present his paper. Please welcome.
You're overgrown student.
Dia postgrad, Prof.
Postgrad.
Ah.
To give your best, eh?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Muhammad Ashraf. So today I'll be presenting on my recent paper. Okay, so my paper, my background is actually on language, and this paper is actually a cross-disciplinary study, study of linguistics and psychology. So the phenomenon that will be looking into is the phenomenon of the homosexual Malaysian Muslim, and we'll be looking at how we study it in the linguistic sense. So let's look at the next slide. Okay, so for the introduction, I'll be talking a bit on the context of homosexuality in Islamic and Malaysian context. Alright, okay. So in Islam, the rulings in regards to homosexuality is clear and binding. In the Quran, which is the holy books of the Muslims and the primary source of guidance, there are multiple references which prohibits the act of homosexuality. And not only prohibits it, but Islam often considered same-sex sexual intercourse as one of the gravest sins in Islam, and it is only cited as only below the sin of blasphemy. However, Islam acknowledged the presence of homosexual tendency. Homosexual tendency in itself is not sinful. However, the realization of it, which is the act itself, is considered as a sin. So Muslims who are homosexuals are encouraged to strive to contain themselves from their perverted inclination, and they will be rewarded for it. In Malaysia, same-sex sexual intercourse is punishable with up to 20 years of imprisonment and whipping. So there's law which prohibits same-sex in Malaysia. The law, however, is not actively enforced. But in Malaysia, the way the public treats it is still a taboo subject, and it is always often regarded as a negative thing. Okay, about this research, I found that various studies done on the LGBT Muslims, they themselves agree with the mainstream interpretation of Islam. So the homosexual Muslims themselves know that it is sinful. However, they are facing difficulties in abandoning the homosexual lifestyle. So it applies to the subjects which will be studied, which I study in this paper. In this paper, I interviewed 4 homosexual Muslims, and I asked them how about their beliefs, their opinions, and their experience in regards to their experience. So the research question is, what are the different ways homosexual Muslims employ discursive strategies to negotiate the sinful position of homosexuality? So this is the research design. So it's in-depth, semi-structured interview, as well as movie. Okay, for the research participants, the inclusion criteria are they identify themselves as homosexual and Muslims. The audio recordings will then be transcribed and be analyzed using discursive psychology, more specifically the discursive action model. Discursive psychology, a little bit about that. It's actually an extension of social psychology. So it treats inconsistency and variability in subjects' discourse as something that needs to be analyzed and studied. And we usually use discursive psychology to study psychological themes like memory, perceptions, attitude, beliefs, and etc. So with discursive psychology, we are not only concerned with what is being said by the subjects, but how it is being said as well. So this is the research model that I use, the discursive action model. So we are concerned with the focus in action, fact and interest, how the speakers protect their stake and interest in their discourse, and accountability. We'll look into do they take accountability in what they say in their actions. Okay, so these are the findings and discussions. So when I interviewed my subjects, they usually would present themselves as being educated in Islam. So they present themselves as being proficient in the Islamic knowledge. So as you can see here with Zarif, he talks about his Islamic education. So you see he mentioned that he went to Islamic kindergarten, Islamic secondary school, and Islamic university. So this is called category entitlement. So what this do is that it would lend credibility to what they present or what they suggest. So this is also what Zarif has said. Islam does not have any specific guidelines on homosexuality. And also look at the highlighted part. I do not see any scripture that says that you can't be gay if you're Muslim. So what this do is that because Zarif presents himself as someone who is proficient in Islamic knowledge, so when he challenged the rulings of homosexuality in Islam, he managed to give authority to himself. Okay, the second theme that we will look into is how homosexuality is framed in relation to other sins. So like here, you can see the example. I mean, like having sex with someone, even either man or woman, is the same. So what Ahmad has done is that he compared the sins of homosexuality with the sin of adultery. By doing that, he made a comparison so that the sin of homosexuality is seen as indistinguished with the sin of adultery. So again, with Tarif, he talked about how someone could get aroused by looking at table and looking at feet. So this is extreme case formulation where first the speaker present his case in a hyperbolic way, exaggerated. So by representing homosexuality in relation to other sins with adultery and with this fetishization, it seeks to leverage the sin of homosexuality so that it does not seem very serious because people did other sin as well. And then the third theme is the indomitable nature of same-sex desire. So we look at the discourse of Ahmad and Omar here. I can't control myself from having a relationship or being a homosexual or having sex with someone else. And Omar, to be who I am, to be who I really am, and be whoever I like. So they present their same-sex desire as something that can't be contained. Okay, so the linguistic features that are used here is a three-part list. So you can see how there are three parts to their talk, to their discourse. So by presenting it in this way, they create like a powerful sense of desire, right? How to contain themselves from being involved in this phenomenon, right? How it is almost impossible for them to abandon their same-sex desire. Again, the same theme as well, consensus and corroboration. So by presenting it as something that is almost agreeable, okay, sex is inevitable. So it becomes, they create a very strong discourse to support their desire. Okay, so the conclusion of this research is that it complicates and blurs the notion of what is good for individual homosexual Muslims, and that homosexual Muslims choosing to live out their life as true Muslims by suppressing their sexual desire is not necessarily a negative thing. So this research could help homosexual Muslims to perhaps abandon their homosexual lifestyle. Okay? It could help in that sense. Okay, I think that's it from my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ashraf, for the presentation. I would now like to invite the second speaker from the first session, Mr. Joshua Andrew Tria from Beda University, to present on academic pressure and resiliency of ABM senior high school students. Please welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Joshua Andre, major in EU, and my studies are pressure and resiliency of ABS students. Okay, so about I was just for one of my friends for ABMC or high school. Okay, so and very stressed, yet they're performing in their style. So yeah, just okay. So the objective is to add researchers on what of academic. So let's define academic pressure is the degree on which it should put pressure on academic thesis. The first topic go from immense pressure to the of digital. So academic pressure, we could compare it to apply the tomato will be squashed. And in resilience, let's compare basically when pressure it's next slide. Okay, so we are uh, answer this question once we discuss the result. Okay, so what is the level of the participants as measured by stress? What is the level of resiliency of the participants as measured by the there are significant relationship between an academic and resiliency among the participants. Next slide. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so we decided. I've used the mathematical experimental correlation. In my participants, I have 100 correspondents. I have 100 correspondents. They are the selected just of some better students, which are senior high students. With this plan of this and management, which are very so why because senior high school is the new that's the main purpose. And why management? How this management is planned actually is to course that is well known for students. So, and why they go students because they are graduated and they also have the pressure of transition from senior high school to college. So my sampling method is continuous sampling. So my measures, I have to the student lifestyle 51 hours, 99 research. So my two sections are types of stressors and reactions to stressors. Five of the categories are types of stressors, which are frustrations, conflicts, pressures, changes, and self-imposed. The reaction factors, physiological, emotional, behavioral, and cognitive. So, life stress is a scale format with one number, so the occasionally more often and five comes to time. Okay, next the resilience scale. This most used and it's an acronym scale measures resilience. It has four items: applicability, different age groups, range from adolescent to elderly. Its basic constructs psychological concepts. Okay, are the interpretations. So to estimate the level of resiliency, add certain numbers to the scores into 90, which means very high resiliency. 64 to 81, high resiliency. 46 to 60, average. 31 to 48, low resiliency. 14 to 21. Okay, so let's move on to the results and discussions. Okay, thing description. As you could see, the height of the portion are the highest, which are changes in the stressors and emotional, which are the reactions to stressors. Okay, so let's discuss the changes. So, based on the results, out of the five stressors, the changes to the stressors at the highest, that's the common stressor, one that gives them a lot of pressure stress. So, according to IBM students are pressured by unexpected changes in field goals or plans. So basically, changes are understand experiences or numerous changes at one time are disruptive to others. So, according to most students, when I interviewed them after I get the results, parental pressure, the because we push them to undergo that experiment. So, like I said a while ago, and goals. ABM students are also bombarded by many tasks every week. Some are given unexpected. So, and then studied after the test was given. So next is the action emotion. It assesses fear and even a lot of people are being given either grief or irritable. Some may experience fear not being able to graduate, or maybe in guilt of not pursuing the exam. So they are emotionally distressed. So let's move on to resilience. So my data indicated of resilience among senior high school ABM students. So according to the professors as well as the students, they are actually goal oriented. So being goal oriented has a lot to do resilient. So being goal-oriented, and then we are motivated and are focused to achieve their goals. That's why they are being resilient. So according to some students, or most of the students, there are two goals. They have two goals, which is the goal to graduate and the goal to be successful. So that is what gives them big pressure. That's what gives them resiliency. So here's the table of correlation. Um, as you can see, the highlighted part is frustration, types of stressors, and cognitive appraisal, reactions to stresses. So later on, we explain or go further onto why it is frustration and cognitive appraisal. So basically, I studied significantly, and it is in academic pressure cases, and it is negatively correlated. So there was a significant relationship between academic pressure, more specifically underserved skills, frustration, and cognition, and resiliency. So they are directly related. So frustrations. What are frustrations? Frustrations encompasses and activities to control. So we could connect that to stressors a while ago. So when the ABM students experience change or unexpected activities, they would be disappointed, or they would feel disappointed, which leads to frustration, which are goal failures. So the more their frustrations, the less resilient they are. The more resilient they are, the less frustrations they receive. So why is that? Well, according to their professors, what keeps them resilient? Actually, according to their professors, they incorporated a mentality of business minded mentality, which helps them cope up with, for example, events and that. So also they also are oriented, as mentioned a while ago. They they will be resilient in times of frustration. Well, let's go to the last part of the cognitive appraisal. Okay, so cognitive appraisal assesses whether one analyzes the stressful situations and uses appropriate strategies to solve stressful situations. So, as I mentioned before, the professors incorporate being business minded in their curriculum. So, if one analyzes a stressful, one stressful pieces, and if one analyzes the situation, it's not stressful. Once you see. So basically, the curriculum of the students teaches them to be resilient in times of stressful situations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joshua, for the presentation. We shall now open the floor to the question and answer session. Audience, if you have any question to the both presenter, you may ask now. Any questions? From Beda University, any questions?
From Beda University, no questions at all.
Okay,
Thank you.
you noted. Okay, no question as well from Universiti Malaysia, Kelantan. Okay, let's move on to the second section. I would like to invite Ms. Noratika Nabila binti Kadir to present the academic challenge among university students. Please welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Noratika Nabila. I'm a presenter from Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, and I would like to present about the academic challenge among university students. So here the introduction. The Industrial Revolution began in the late 18th and 19th centuries and was a period of significant economic development marked by the introduction of power-driven machinery. The Industrial Revolution began to take shape in Britain and then spread to the other country. The fourth Industrial Revolution is technology and information influence. Since first nowadays, the development of technology is very wide, and how we going to use technology in our daily life. So here, the challenge of the Industrial Revolution, university students must get out of habit. The World Economic Forum has been explaining the importance of mastery of 4C element, which is critical thinking and problem solving, communication, collaboration, and creativity. In a critical thinking and problem solving, is something that is developed both in the university setting and in the professional situation. You will find yourself in after you graduate, and it's part of lifelong learning. Critical thinking is important in life. It helps you to think creatively outside the box. It's usually people say critical thinking outside of the box. So it keeps you becoming narrow, and it's expected of you in higher education. It can lead to developing your judgment, evaluation, and problem solving abilities. Rather than relying on teachers and classroom time for instruction and guidance, students with critical thinking skills become more independent, self-directed learners. And there is a research, Zhang writes that critical thinking enables students to assess their learning styles, strength, and weakness, and allows them to take ownership of their education. So when a student have their learning style, they know their strength, they know their weakness. So they can be have their own abilities to help themselves in order to create a critical thinking. Means that when a problem comes, so they have to think and how about how to solve the problems. So next is communication. In the communication, Extroversion can make it easier for people to approach strangers, talk in large group, and appear friendly. So with a communication skill, you won't have any fears in talk with strangers, to people that you don't know. So you doesn't have any barrier to talk with other people. So these things can cause others to perceive extroverts more positively, potentially further boosting their self-esteem. People with low self-esteem may be anxious about talking to unfamiliar people and more uncomfortable in group setting. So it's very important if you have a good communication skill. That says that you have a passion in a group to finish your assignment. If you don't have any communication, if you don't have any confident to talk about what you think about in the assignment, to give your and to give your own idea, to share your idea with other people. So that the communication skills very important among students. Besides that, communication also the most important skill for people entering the workforce. As you know that we are university student, and then if we want to go in the further in a workforce, nowadays the company or any sector of workforce, they are looking for our skill. They are look for our skill, and communication skill is the one of the skills that they are low. So when you have the communication skill, they will more confident that you will be the best worker to choose in their company. A collaboration. A collaboration gives a challenge you to articulate and distill what you are great at and what you do poorly. Analysis about your strength and weakness can force you to ask for help when necessary and be reasoned about how you can help others. Besides collaboration, you collaborate with other people. You're asking help or they are asking help that you can give your collaboration together to help them. So it is one skills that you should have when you are a university student, which you have to collaborate with your friends to create something or to solve problem to accomplish your assignment. Being creative, creativity. So being creative, creation and challenge. Creative peoples are curious, patient, and challenge and don't necessarily follow the rules. So you have to be creative. If someone that say that a question, you should ask back the question, why it be like that? Why must means that you are not receiving the question or any statement uh, directly. You should ask why. So it's necessary. It doesn't need necessary to follow through. Just that the person give you a statement and then you accept the statement right away. So you can be asking them why the statement is like that. So you have to be creative in asking people the question by the statement, and then make the connection and still relationship. Creative people think laterally and make association between things that are not usually connected. And then envious one might be they imagine see possibility as what if or the picture alternative and look at the thing from different viewpoints. So you have to be a different you should have a different viewpoint. Means that you doesn't need to look at one dimension. You can be seeing at side of you, top of you, bottom of you, in front of you. So you should be creative. Not look at the one side. Explore ideas and options. Creative people play with ideas, try alternative and fresh approaches, keep open minds, and modify their ideas to achieve creative results. So you have to open-minded, be open-minded. Not only the necessary things, not or you can create another creative idea to show that a creative result that not others people think about it. And then they reflect critically on ideas, action, and outcomes. They review progress, invite and use feedback, criticize constructively, and make perceptive observation. So you have to reflect on the idea come out. So you can have an action and others outcome. Higher order thinking skill. This is what we use in Malaysia in education system for secondary, for primary, secondary, and tertiary education, which is the help students to think critically, which is not only from the segment or not based on the book. So when the questions come out, we call as higher order thinking skill question. When the questions come out, the student should think that the answer not only based on the book, but they have to think in real life. Means the answer should be logically. They have to think creative in giving the answer. So the complex problem solving skills, the impact of solution to various aspects such as economic, environmental, social, political, ethical, health, and sustainability. Oral communication skills are written. Internet of Things as supposed the ability to communicate efficiently and verbally and in writing is critical. Many conflict due to communication with misunderstandings, team leadership, and problem-solving process are retarded. In addition to technology, the ability to communicate effectively in English is no longer a problem. The oral communication skills, when come up with students, they have communication misunderstanding, which is not all people cover the second language. So there is a conflict during communication, which is this person, a person doesn't understand what they are talking about, how the communication happened. So the oral communication skill is very important. This is why we have to encourage that university students, they have to talk or communicate with their own friends. So that is a process of learning how to improve their communication skill, and also in the written. In the written in essay, how they improve their written, how they improve their grammar error, how they improve everything in communication skill, because this is a very important in the future life. The last is the balancing study time, which is nowadays technology. We have technology. We have a problem with technology and students nowadays because they more use their time in social media, and this is what the issues come up. So we as a student, we should balance our study time, which is we know which time we have in to use our time in social, and when we want to use our time in study. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you to Ms. Naratika. Next, I would like to present the next speaker from Beda University, Ms. Janelle Gracila Carlos, to present on perceived parenting style and test anxiety among selected college students. Please invite it.
Okay, so hello, good afternoon everyone. I am General Carlos, a Bachelor of Science and Psychology student from Beda University, Malaysia. So, my study is entitled Perceived Parenting Style and Lessons Decided by Most Selected College. So next slide, please. Okay, so here are the topics of my study to discover what other aspects of economic outcomes parenting styles have an association with as recommended by the Parr and Undergraduate. So I've read various researches regarding parenting styles, and most of them were written by the Western authors. So this time I want to learn what are the parenting styles applied by parents here in the Philippines in order to build users that will represent their country. So the next one, it is determinated parenting styles being applied in the students. So I also mentioned that. So last one, most studies of high school students as participants, but this research will discover how the parenting styles can also have an impact on college students the society, particularly how the styles can achieve stressors of the students in the face of their lives. So most studies also that focus on high school students. So this one will focus on college students, specifically about the students of the Department of College of Art and Sciences. So these are the two variables that we study: parenting style and lesson style. So there are three parenting styles. Then we'll begin. First is the short parenting style. So it is characterized by a parent who has a demanding but unresponsive to their child's needs. The second one is permissive parenting style. This one is characterized by it's very responsive to their children needs but not demanding too much. And lastly, the authoritative parenting style. This one is the parent possesses as measured by the parental report first year. Second one, what is the dominant maternal style of selected college? As measured by the parental report. What is the level of test society among selected college students as measured by their SI? I want to know if there's a significant relationship between two variables, the differences in parenting styles and society. So I utilize the traditional quantitative research design and it aims to determine if there's a significant relationship between the perceived parenting style and society. So for the participants, it consisted of 4-year college students from the College of Arts and Sciences of the University of Manila between the age of 18 and 26 years. So these are the instruments in my study. First one is the parental authority questionnaire made by Dr. John R. Mary, consisting of 30 items. So it is answered no lighter. So strongly agree, one, and strongly agree. So the second one is the website as I say by Dr. Richard Russo. The questionnaire is designed by the person behind your mind. Okay, so for data analysis, in answering the first problem, I use minus as means analysis. The technical analysis for the second one, to find out if what is the dominant percent maternity parenting style among selected college mean standard deviation, to determine the level of test society among participants, mean standard deviation for also the statistical use, and lastly, in the question, use the correlation analysis in discovering the significant relationship between perceived parenting style and exercise. So results and so these tables shows the reliability values of parenting style and exercise. So there, next one. So this table shows the mean and standard deviation of parenting styles and the society. So here we can it shows that the result shows the dominant perceived parenting style is father authoritative, meaning value of 35.536 and satisfaction 6.55. And for the dominant maternal perceived child, mother of the value of 36.755 and 0.455. Okay, so in determining if there's a significant relationship between the two variables, for the styles, there's no significant relationship between the maternal parenting styles and anxiety. However, for the maternal parenting styles, it is shown that the scale or the mother or parenting styles has a significant relationship with the society. So the test society levels of the selected college students is moderately high. So this means that the maternal parenting styles, the authoritarian has association with higher levels of test society. So in conclusion, the students experience stress in the academics. This will be caused by their fear of falling. And the society, this fear can be rooted from their parents' rules and punishments, and from the fear of disappointing their parents. So Philippines, the Filipino values consist Filipino values, discipline, and the fulfillment of the familial duties. It is very evident in my culture. So students or leaders, they fear that they can cause familial alienation. They think like they're like studies, especially for the student, because they have for exams and the pressure to pass for exams. And in addition, the certificate for year students. So there's the pressure to graduate and to be successful because this could determine what their future careers may be. So for the The future researcher continuing this study will increase the number of participants by including the students with other sets. And in addition, they could use other research designs to explore the variables more. And lastly, to decrease the lesson size requirements for the students, teaching students through programs or seminars about different coping strategies such as speaking strategies and dealing with pressure. So thank you, that's it. Will there be any questions regarding the presentation?
No? No question.
I repeat, will there be any questions from your school regarding this presentation?
There's no question from UMK. Could you turn this on? Kita is on. No question, right? Okay, let's moving on to the third session. Okay, I would like to invite the third presenter from UMK, Ms. Nur Shahira, to present on Understanding Industrial Revolution 4.0. Please welcome. Hi.
Hi and good evening, everyone. I'm Shaira, and today I'm going to present about understanding our. So let's move on. Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Shaira, and I'm going to present about understanding Industrial Revolution 4.0. So the introduction in 2020 with the world estimated population reaching 7.6 billion. Current development in technology predict that 50 billion electronic devices will interact with each other. So this interconnected device generate data and knowledge. The emergence of a new wave of technology known as the fourth industrial revolution in the era of digital economy, which has led the government to strive to succeed in the digital Malaysia policy. So, let's proceed to the timeline. Okay. The first industrial revolution happens on 18th century. That was based on the introduction of mechanical production equipment driven by water and steam power. So, the product was first mechanical loom. The second IR was in 19th century. That was based on mass production achieved by division of labor concept and use of electrical energy. So then next third IR based on the use of electronics and IT to further automate production. And next is both IR, which is happening right now, started 2020. It was based on the use of cyber physical systems. And next is the initiative that Malaysian government did in IR 4.0. So a total of 162 billion ringgit has been allocated in the 2017 budget for various programs such as commerce, digital maker movement, as well as the introduction of new location categories as Malaysia's digital hub. And then establishment of the world's first digital free trade zone combines physical and virtual zone with the addition of online and digital service to facilitate international e-commerce and stimulate internet-based innovation. And then drafting the national strategic plan on the Internet of Things led by MIMOS. The plan is expected to generate 9.5 billion in gross national income by 2020 and provide 40,270 high-skilled jobs through the various promotional activities carried out by Malaysian of International Trade and Industry. More equipment manufacturers for internet and sensor use are expected to invest in the country to create a conducive ecosystem for the Internet of Things industry. Then there are advantages of IR 4.0. Firstly is product optimization. So with higher demands on the industrial sector to produce more product with fewer raw materials and less energy, implementing decentralized system that promote efficiency, flexibility, and are more sustainable nowadays is a must. Industry 4.0 presents an opportunity for manufacturers to implement the integration of smart materials and equipment that can diagnose and fix itself with help streamline process, make more versatile production decision, and invariably increase a company's profitability. Second is customization. Creating a flexible, customer-oriented market will help meet the needs of the population quickly and smoothly. It will also bridge the gap between producer and customer. Communication will take place between the two directly. Manufacturers do not need to communicate internally and externally. This speeds up the production and the delivery process. So, and then the third is operational costs. What is operational cost? With increased digitalization and more technological devices, even unfinished product will be enriched with embedded computing and connected using advanced technologies. This will allow field devices to communicate with each other and enable significant improvement in efficiency in the factory. So last but not least is the customer satisfaction. A digitally advanced factory will enable a mass customization of product to suit customer demands. Industry 4.0 will create the ability for manufacturing companies to personalize the product to an individual consumer requirements while still employing mass production techniques. That's all from me now. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, Ms. Nur Shahira. Okay. Next, I would like to invite the third presenter from the third session from Beda University, Mr. Rizal Joy Kantilan, to present academic stress, emotional intelligence, and life satisfaction among selected senior college student. Please welcome.
Dito, salamat. Anong pangalan? Ba't anong presentation sa
Boleh bagi tahu nomor lagi tak?
Rasa kena
Nomor yang akan menjawab.
dia tak jawab. Rasa kena bosan.
Nanti dah boleh tutup tak?
Begitu? Ada. Dikontrol ke sana kok?
Sana boleh dikontrol dia. Tapi main itu
Okay. Siapa? Oh, dia boleh.
Boleh tak? Betul, you nak number technician dia ya? Number technician.
Atau yang jadi ini MC mana tu dia habis ini MC Vanessa
Ini.
oh itu juga ini MC Vanessa
Oh, dia mute saja.
oh ya dia dia tengok dulu maklumat dari jelas apa dia tidak jawab kok jawab
So,
ada dia lagi dia lagi
Itu boleh bagi signal tak? Kamera. Bagi signal voice lah, kamera. Kamera. Infrared lah. Bagi signal.
masa itu saya dulu
Kita
dia
tengah IP kot. Mungkin ini boleh highlight juga. Kita tak ada we are experiencing some issues with the sound. We can't hear that.
cuba
Hello, Beda University.
Tak nampak orang.
We're having technical difficulties here. We couldn't hear your side. Can you hear us? Raise your hand if you hear us, MC.
hello?
Ah,
Yes, now that we can hear you.
Okay, regarding the presentation, are there any questions?
Sorry? Okay, any question? UMK, any question? No. No question from UMK?
There will be no questions. Yes, well.
Okay. Right.
No.
Okay.
Malaysia.
Okay. For the first session, I would like to pass the floor to my co-MC.
Hello, I am from Beda University, so co-MC.
Yes.
A fourth presenter from MA, Nur Afrika bin Ali with the project 4.1.
Okay. Hello, Mr. MC. Miss MC.
Yes.
Yes. We would like, on your behalf, to start first for the first session. Is it possible?
It is possible, yes.
Okay. Thank you. And from start from the first session, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Vanessa Santos. Thank you.
Thank you. So the fourth presenter Malaysia, Kelantan, is Miss Nur Afrika. Please welcome our artist.
Hello. Hello. Apparently, our presenter is not here yet. We would like, on your behalf, to start first with the presentation. Is that possible?
Yes, it's possible.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So from Beda, fourth presenter is Eric.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. In Malaysia. So my name is Maxim. So again, good afternoon, University of Malaysia. So to introduce my study of efficacy academic achievement. Okay, so to define the so it is simply the level of acquisition for the agent that the student under. And for the second variable, it is simply the sum of the cognitive that aim to handle and to simply do activity that we do to simply handle solutions to stress or problems. And for the last variable, is the or the conflict connecting the task to also, it is learning from the various as well as verbal from for this is really answer. So this is number one level of as measured by and second, what is the dominant as measured by the and third, what is the level of the participant measured by the as the and lastly, so now let's go to the method. So correlation used to determine and my participants are 100 grade 12 senior high from Beda University belongs to science, technology, and mathematics. So I would like just a further on why so first of all, even when I was high school, I was always fascinated with different science and it caused a lot especially with the different people. Divided into different types. Now for the measure, to measure the general so this is the with a 4-point diagram. 1 to 4. Second, I use to measure the dominant dominant. So this is a 20 I with 40 and there are different name and being flash positive refrain emotional support the action denial substance abuse treatment and self-awareness. And lastly, to measure the level of among senior high school students. The first semester they from the private college of the particular school. So now let's move on. First, the participants. So what is the meaning of a person with high level are more motivated by setting work, and they are creative efforts to be able to for the second, it is positive. But it is really person uses it as their so positive just to define the positive putting greater emphasis on what you achieve instead of what was not achieved, but simply looking positive. So this also has in optimism, and they also it's a different life and more positive. So just to say, a person with high level of positive thinking used to more positive perception in their life. And next, the participants create point average. So, and according to the two-factor theory of motivation, students are motivated in intrinsic factor like motivation. So whenever they obtain a high grade in a particular subject, they tend to uh, study harder to pursue to receive the desired grades. And so there's significant correlation between self-efficacy and coping skill of positive behavior. So this simply means that when a student has a high self-efficacy, they also have a dominant coping skill of positive behavior. And then second, there is a correlation between academic achievement and the coping skill of positive behavior. So just the same, just the same as the first one, when students have a high academic achievement, they also have a high coping skill of positive behavior. And then the last, there is no significant correlation between efficacy and academic achievement. Because learning about all these stressors, it is more helpful than because it shows that this improves their self-efficacy and academic achievement. And just to wrap it all up, to conclude it, the study shows that there are a greater amount of pressure exerted on STEM grade students because of the new education system in the Philippines, which is the K-12, which which makes the graduate students to either apply for their desired colleges or to apply for them. And according to the news recently, that most companies right now are not actually acknowledge that because they still feel them as incompetent as to graduates of college. And lastly, there's also few in academic environment for high school and college, which can also be assessed. So that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Legarde. May we now call on from UMP, Ms. Noor Africa Tintin. Let us please welcome our presenter.
Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Nur Afrika binti Rizwan and I am from Universiti Malaysia. Today I will present about family values is fading due to the smartphone. Okay, first I would like to tell about the definition about Industrial Revolution 4.0. Industrial Revolution 4.0 has been defined as a name for the current trend of automation and data exchange in manufacturing technologies. It includes cyber physical, the Internet of this cloud computing and collective computing. Industrial Revolution creates what has been called a smart factory. Okay, now I would like to tell what is a smartphone. Smartphone is a cellular phone offering advanced capabilities such as PC-like operating system and internet access. As we know, nowadays, our young people and young children, even the kids, have their own smartphone. This is due to the factors of our living standards and our globalization. The question is whether this is a method that can have a positive impact on the family institution or have a negative impact on them. So back to my title, which is family values is fading due to the smartphone. Now I would like to elaborate about the advantage and disadvantage about the smartphone. First, as we know, the smartphone is one of the communication tools so that it is as a platform to us to communicate with each other. Okay, especially for kids or also us, we need to use it to call parents or message. Besides that, by using the application such as WhatsApp, Facebook, and Messenger, also can connect with our parents. The second one is smartphone are using to surfing the internet. It is suitable for all ages to find an info with the faster route. Besides, as we know, kids also can use it to get more knowledge. And other than that, by using the smartphone, we can get info easily. Online learning usually will be held since we're now in Industry Revolution 4.0. It will be more efficient in the use of an application. So now I would like to elaborate about the disadvantage of the smartphone. The smartphone will disrupt the lesson of our children or our kids. However, if we are let our children use the smartphone without our monitor, so they will disrupt their lesson. For example, if they are too obsessed with the games or social media that they are surfing, such as Facebook, Instagram, and others, they cannot focus on their studies, and at last, they can perform in their studies. Next one is the smartphone also can increasing the crime rate. As we know, now the smartphone was be able to buy by their parents since they are also cheap phone and of smartphone, but with the excellent Android or iOS, either the new phone or the second-hand phone. So the parents are afford to buy it, but it is different compared to the disabled family. Their parents cannot buy them the smartphone because of some factor which is they can't afford it. However, the children have a desire to use the smartphone. Then there is several kids will start to involve with the negative things such as stealing money and so on. This kind of cases will increasing the crime rate. They will do anything as long they will get what they want and may fulfill their requirement. And the last one is the disadvantage of the smartphone is it will make the inception of incest. When all the kids using the smartphone without any control from their parents, they will start to access on the bad website. And maybe the website will get the pornographic videos or photo that they are not allowed to see. From there, it will cause the inception of incest. Alright. Now, I would like to elaborate about the cause of abuse of smartphone. First one is it is because not monitored by parents. Some of their parents do not care about the activities they are doing by their kids, because they thought their children are using on the right way, but they are wrong. The second one is parents are busy working. The second factor is parents are too busy until they doesn't have a time to spend with their kids. There is no bonding family at all. Besides, their parents never asking about their kids. How about the day? How about their school? So because they doesn't have enough time and they need to rest because of too tired. So the kids will feel themselves neglected. However, every problem has its own solution. Also with this problem, which is family values is fading due to smartphone, so parents need to take an action and cannot let this problem continue to persist. In addition, there is a lot of way or solution that can be used by parents to avoid this problem. So, the step to address this problem is, first one is limiting the phone usage and setting condition for children. As example, parents may allow their kids to use the smartphone, either surfing the internet or access to the social media, but they need to limit it. Such as can be used on weekend or can be used for 2 hours, so that their children will be more disciplined and will not be involved with the negative impact. The second one is monitoring your children. While using the smartphone, parents should know what kind of account that social media that their kids have, with who that they are always chatting or interact. Parents need to be aware that sometimes there is a fake account which is they are using to cheat our girl children. So parents should know everything. The third is parents also can make a day without phone. If a family make a family bonding, it's better to get off all the phone and maybe you can be a off talk, which is ask about their kids, about their problem, and maybe they can solve the problem together, and parents can give an opinion or to find the solution. Then from there, your children will not feel alone and they know that their parents love them. And the last one is parents also can download a mobile guardian application, which is it guides your children about online activity and have a peace of mind knowing where your children device is at all the time. And besides that, the mobile guardian also can monitor, control, and understand your child online behavior, and you can control all of your children device from one place. They need to nurture responsible digital citizens start from now. And last but not least, I hope these steps will boost our family values from Beda. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rhodes, for that very informative presentation. The floor is open. Are there any questions on your side?
Ada soalan tak?
No question from UMK.
Okay, thank you. From somebody, there's one question. From Oscar. So for the second presenter, you mentioned okay. For the second, you mentioned that you need to address the problem. What do you think is the effective way to address the problem usage of yours?
Sorry, could you repeat the question, please? Thank you.
So for the second presenter, you mentioned different steps to address the problem. So what do you think is the effective way to address the usage of smartphones?
Jawab dia.
Tadi lesson apa?
Tak, cuba tanya balik. Minta ulang. Bagi repeat ni. Repeat dulu lagi.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Kau you repeat.
Okay, for the second, you mentioned to address the problem. So what do you think is the effective way to reduce the usage of smartphones? You mentioned steps. So what is the effective one?
Key point dia smartphone. Step to avoid apa ni?
So we mentioned different steps to address the problem regarding smartphones. Okay, so what do you think is most effective?
What do you think?
Okay. Actually, apa should mana kalau dia suruh like dia memakai
Cerita je lah pasal.
Even are we clear?
not clear,
Not clear the
not
question.
so clear.
Okay, will you
Slowly.
okay, for the starters, you have mentioned different steps to address the problem. So what is the most effective way?
Oh, what is the most best way?
Itu je.
Step of the problem.
Are you asking about what is the best more way to start this problem?
Yes.
Baik.
Yeah, the most address the problem. You have space where to go in your
Thank you for the questions. So in my opinion, the best step to address this problem is parents monitoring our children, because without controlling the phone usage, so our children will be more obsessed and cannot focus on what they are doing, especially for their studies. Besides, for me also, spend time with their kids also the important thing, because sometimes our kids or our children need some place to their tell about their problem, and maybe they need to have a solution about the problem, but because some of parents are busy working, so parents need to take action about this. So spend time with their kids is also the most important things to address this problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that very question and answer. Welcoming the Mazaya Binti. Let us all welcome our
Okay, hello everyone. Okay, my name is Malaysia. I am from Universiti Malaysia, Kelantan. Okay, today we will talk about Industry Revolution 4.0 in microeconomics. Then on the brink of a technological revolution that will fundamentally alter the way we live, work and relate to one another. Okay, before that, I will explain about the stage of the revolution. For the first revolution, use water and steam power to machinize production in 1784. The second revolution used electric power to create mass production in 1870. The third revolution used electronics and information technology to automate production in 1969.
And now we are in fourth industrial revolution, the digital revolution that has been occurring since the middle of the last century. Okay, I will explain more about impact on business, in government, and the pros and cons. For the impact on business, nowadays many industries are seeing the introduction of new technologies, and the new technologies make assets more durable and resilient, forcing companies to re-examine the way they do business and enable platforms that combine both demand and supply to disrupt existing industry structures. Industry 4.0 will revolutionize manufacturing, pushing down costs and expanding the market reach to consumers as well as creating new competitors. In Malaysia, I think that they still depend heavily on foreign labor, and I think that nations should be change their mindset and get to embrace new technology through digital platforms. Malaysia may have the head start, especially in our electronic, automotive, and construction industry, to enhance modern manufacturing technologies towards Industry 4.0. In the last 2017, there was a budget announcement, and we hope to see more incentive made available in the 2018 to help Malaysian companies to adopt new technologies towards Industry 4.0. Okay, in government will gain new technological powers to increase their control over population based on pervasive surveillance system and the ability to control digital infrastructure. Embracing agile governance, just as the private sector has increasingly adopted agile responses to software development and business operations, impact the nature of national and international security, affecting both the probability and the nature of conflict. The new technology and platform will increasingly enable citizens to engage with governments, voice their opinions. Government will gain new technology powers to increase their control over populations based on pervasive surveillance system and the ability to control digital infrastructure. Okay, next, the pros and cons. Raise global income levels and improve the quality of life for populations around the world, increasing long-term profits in efficiency and productivity. And I add some notes, which is the industrial revolution also result in dramatically lower price for goods. This was due to the shortened amount of time needed to produce goods, as well as the cost saved for labor. For the cons, technology is one of the main reasons why income stagnates. This will create an increasingly segregated job market into the low skill for low segment and high skill for high pay payment, which in turn will lead to increased social tension. Before all of the factories come about during the water and air in the world, the pollution never stopped after this time and continues to contaminate our air, land, and water. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions? Oh, sorry about that. I think the next speaker is Kylie Marie. Let's all give her a round of applause. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kyle Marisa, and I'm here to present to you my study on academic procrastination and academic self-improvement, like the college student. So let's start with variables. The first variable is procrastination, which means postponing primary activities such as preparing for exam, preparing their paper, administrative affairs related to school, and duty activities. And the second variable is self-regulation, which is self-generated behaviors that are related to the attainment. This study aims to determine the related academic procrastination and self-regulation among selected subjects. Specifically, this study aims to answer the following. First, what is the level of academic procrastination among students? As mentioned, academic procrastination is stage. Second, what is the level of regulation among students? As mentioned, activity stage. And lastly, there are significant differences academic procrastination and academic self-regulation among students. So let's go to the method. This study uses quantitative correlation of the research design. The participants are 160 respondents from Beda University in Manila, which are first to fourth year college students. And the sampling technique used in the study is convenience sampling. So in order to measure the academic procrastination of the college students, the researchers used academic procrastination statement review, which was signed by Henry Schroeder in 1990. It is a 5-point scale rating your frequency of engaging academic procrastinatory outcomes and behaviors. It has 30 items. In the original version, there are 3 subscales which are fear of failure, lack of motivation, and procrastination. But in this study, academic procrastination is only assessed, so it yields a 13 items. Next, in order to academic self-regulation, the researcher motivation scale which was assigned by Robert Valera and Tulisi in 1995. This is 7-point academic scale assessing the participants' self-regulation styles as applied to academic activities. It has 28 items and the subscale measured by 4 items. So let's move to the results and discussion. Academic procrastination. The results show that participants have high level of academic procrastination, which means that college students of tasks thinking that by not thinking that they still have enough time to complete or accomplish the task. Also, according to the study of also and current tasks, high academic procrastination, students with high academic procrastination. Students with high procrastination have a high tendency to avoid tasks or duties that are mandatory. Second, academic regulation. All the participants have yielded score of intrinsic motivation, but they yield scores yielded for motivation regulation. This means that students with high level of motivation to perceive continuously in their own action and outcomes. According to a study by students who are motivated perceive themselves as confident to reach their intended outcomes because they lack determination, purpose, and care for internal and external rewards. So the correlation of so the research shows that there is a direct link between academic procrastination and motivation. This means that students with high motivation of control over learning process and emphasize more on academics. This implies that students with a motivation procrastinate because their interests and missions are mismatched with their academic tasks or perceive that doing academic tasks is just a waste of time. So to conclude, the high level of academic procrastination and high level of motivation relate among the college. This might be because students' needs and wishes are not aligned with what they are experiencing in their career. Also, they think their academic activities are not assigned to them in the space of their time. Also, the participants have no level of intrinsic regulation and extrinsic regulation because they perceive studying as routine and they lack strong independence. That's all.
Thank you for those presentations. Will there be variations coming from you regarding presentation?
Soalan tak? Satu soalan. Boleh? Soalan.
UMK.
Sorry, we have no question from UMK. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Also have you. Presenting our last speaker, Ms. Maria Veronica Beda. Please welcome our presenter.
So good afternoon, everyone. So So the research study is entitled Perceived Parenting Styles and Academic Procrastination of Selected Senior High School Students. Okay, so So the statement of the problem of the study. So this research paper aimed to examine the relationship between perceived parenting styles and academic procrastination among selected students. Specifically, this seeks to answer the following questions. What is the dominant parenting style among the senior high school students as measured by the parental authority questionnaire? What is the academic procrastination level of the selected senior high school participants? And lastly, if there is a significant relationship between perceived parenting styles and academic procrastination. So the method that I used for the research design that was used in this study was the organizational research design. There were over 151 selected senior high school students with an age range of 16 to 21 years old, both male and female. Convenient sampling was also used in the selection of participants. So the skills that the researcher used for the study are the parental authority questionnaire by John Curry and the academic procrastination scale to measure the academic procrastination level of the students. So the rest. To answer the first statement of the problem, what is the dominant perceived parenting style among the selected students? Results confirmed that the participants perceive both their mothers and fathers to manifest the authoritative style. This type of parenting is either warm and responsive as a proportion. They are open, they talk to their kids about their rules and decisions. This is possible due to the parent being interested in the child and attentive to the child's needs. Indeed, communication is key to the relationship between the parent and the child in the authoritative parenting style. So for the next segment of the problem, what is the academic procrastination level of the participants? Academic procrastination refers to the tendency to put off or delay academic tasks. Results show that participants scored high in levels of academic procrastination. This means that high in academic procrastination, students off or delay by not thinking that they still have plenty of time left to accomplish tasks. And the last statement of the problem, where it showed that there is a positive correlation between the academic procrastination and perceived parenting styles. But only 3 out of the 6 parenting styles appear to correlate with the academic procrastination. For the mother, it appeared that the authoritarian parenting style correlates with academic procrastination, while permissive and authoritarian parenting style correlated. For authoritarian and parenting style of the father correlated to the academic procrastination. So
Students who have an authoritarian mind procrastinates more academically. This is because this is the challenge way of remembering their mother. The more a mother becomes persistent on telling the children what to do, the more the child will put off or delay a certain task. Because instead of the mother asking the child to do something, the mother is just instead of requesting something from the children, the mother is always I'm sorry, the mother starts asking something or demanding something from the children rather than asking of them. While it's also the same with the authoritarian father. Rather than asking the children, they'll always demand the children to be the best. For example, getting the highest grades in school. So, in return, the children tend to rebel to their parents rather than following their demands. And lastly, the permissive parenting style of a father also correlated with academic procrastination. We all know that this type of parenting, the parent usually allows the children to do whatever they want. Parents should allow their children to trust their children, to let them or discipline them or they seldom look for punishment. So, as much as this type of parenting is not a completely negative approach, it does seem to make the children procrastinate even more because they have the full freedom to do whatever they want without the restrictions and punishments of their parents. So students can sometimes forget their academic tasks because parents do not mind them or trust the children will do this on their own. So to conclude, parents should always be aware of responding to orders or commands related to study tasks. The child is less likely to balk at or rebel against the authoritative upbringing because it includes fair and acceptable regulations. In addition, parents should always regulate their children's activities rather than allowing them to do things on their own. Furthermore, parents should allow children to act independently with supervision because this teaches kids that they are capable of accomplishing things on their own. That would be all. Thank you for the presenters today. Would there be the questions coming from you? No questions. The Beda University. I think we have seen very informative and thorough observation today. And I think that's a big achievement for the first international conference regarding research, University Malaysia and Beda University. I would like to thank the distinguished presenters, doctors, guests for listening and coming to this event. So the presenters, they presented very thorough presentations like self-efficacy, the disadvantages and of using smartphones, the perceived parenting styles. That was a very nice presentation. Industry was thoroughly discussed during the conference, and I think when I say that we've learned a lot from our University Malaysia, I think that's a collective. So, for the summary and conclusion of this whole event, I'd like to welcome Professor Johan from UNPA, Dr. Annabelle from Beda University. Please give them a round of applause.
We are waiting for Dr. Johan, and he will come in a while.
Let me begin by thanking our students from the department as well as the students from the psychology department of the University of Kelantan for your stewardship of our research progress and for the excellent sharing of knowledge you have just provided. This will help us plan what to do next, both here in our university and to our partners as well. This academic sharing expertise will not be possible without the help from the Office of the Vice President for Linkages and International Affairs and support from the College of Arts and Sciences. I also would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the administrators of the University of Malaysia. For this will not be to exchange of knowledge and ideas without their cooperation and supervision with their students. The paper presented can be summarized on the purpose that surround college and high school students. So, the students' positive traits such as resiliency, emotional intelligence, self-efficacy, and self-regulation influence students handle with academic pressure, academic stress, and academic procrastination. Also, parenting style can be considered a significant factor that can affect children's student life and well-being. So to all students who presented their research outputs, congratulations. Finally, I would like to thank our own people here for organizing the event and ensuring it ran so smoothly. Maraming salamat po.
Dr. Johan, boleh? Biasa je.
We will now be calling on Dr. Johan's summary and review from the University of Kelantan.
Tak penuh kan je tak? Orang nampak. Johan. Saya tutup jadi tengok lagi.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. For first time, I would like to say thank you very much because this program today is very good and both our students get experience and especially our student from UMK. This may be the first international conference for them, and we are very thankful to Beda University because run this program together with us. Okay. I will try to summary what the presentation from UMK today. Okay. From our presentation is very varied today, especially in the IR 4.0, because now in Malaysia we focus to Industrial Revolution 4.0, and for the first presentation we look we know and about the issue homosexual. Homosexual is the general issue, and not just in the world, but especially like in Malaysia, in the Muslim country, homosexual appear here. But in this research, the researcher look about what the concept, what the concept of homosexual from the individual, especially the Muslim individual, and what they look about the homosexual life. This is the negative or positive. This the issue is very sometimes it's pro and contra, still pro and contra here, especially if related with the religion. Okay. For the industrial revolution, I try to summary is the industrial revolution like the sword. It can have it can be good or bad because give the benefit and give in the same time give the problem for us. Industrial Revolution 4.0 is related with the modern technology. Example is the mobile phone. You know, is the presentation today is mobile phone. Mobile phone is good for us, but in other side give the bad effect, especially for the children development now and quality of life, especially in family. Before this, if we sit together in family, sit, talk, dinner, lunch together, but now it's different. It's the changing on is you sit together, but you not talk, you not look, you just talk with your phone. This is the problem. But at the side, technology in era IR 4.0 is great benefit. Example like the increasing profit, productivity, and income, especially in the economic. But other problem again in the skill. It needs skill. If not support with skill, this is the problem for the people now. Example, mobile phone is very modern now, but for the old people, sometimes maybe difficult and it make problem. It make the stress. It make the pressure for them. So modern technology not give benefit, give problem, yes. Increasing tension. And they related again with the quality of life. Okay, I think like that from what I try to summary what the presentation for our staff and student today. But in this time, I want to get opportunity to introduce our club. Now we in process to create the Industrial Revolution 4.0 club. So this, I think, first club IR 4.0 in Malaysia, and we would like to collaborate with our student in Beda. If the student interested to create the club about related with Industrial Revolution 4.0, maybe you can. I will have to connecting with our club here, because our club is focused to the e-learning and the modern teaching. So our student can discuss with the Beda University student, and maybe after that they can create something new, modern method in the teaching or in the learning, and in the same time they can run a program like this. But this program run by student. Okay. Thank you very much.
Camera.
Dr. Johan, we'd like to extend our thanks, our sincere thanks, and our deepest congratulations for the papers presented today. I think everyone in the audience enjoyed listening and learning from the knowledge that you transferred and shared with us today. I think it was a very productive event and program, and we look forward to more programs with you. And we'd like to thank the Office of the President of International Affairs also for this wonderful event made possible by Beda and from the Psychological Society of San Beda. Thank you very much. More power.
Say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Harap kayo sa camera, harap kayo sa camera.
Hi, Joel. Hi, Joel. Dr. Tita. Dr. Tita. Pwede ko malitayin. Hindi ako makapag-focus.
Thank you very much, Universiti Malaysia, Kelantan.
Thank you very much.
Okay.